We are 6 games in to the league season and we are still unbeaten. We've also had the end of the transfer window, and on transfer deadline day, we broke 2 transfer records. But we have now lost one of our best players at the club. Hey guys, and welcome to episode 26 of One Team, One Dream, Into the Woods. My name is James, and on today's episode we have 2 games in League 2. We are away at Forest Green, and then we welcome Bolton Wanderers to Meadow Park. But that doesn't even come close to being the biggest news for today's episode. So since last episode we have had the end of the transfer window, we had transfer deadline day. It wasn't very busy, but it was significant. So if I go into transfers and transfer history, you can see here 2 fairly significant transfers. The first one is we have lost Sorba Thomas. Now, this did sting a little bit when he left. Initially, he was asking to leave. He was getting more and more aggravated as the transfer window went on. And come near the end of the transfer window, he flat out asked for a transfer and wanted to leave, put in a transfer request. I decided in the end to accept it. This is also based on the fact that we have changed back formation, which I think is one of the reasons why we've actually A, started winning, and B, are still unbeaten. So he seemed like a little bit of an additional player who wasn't going to be played as often. It then got taken out of my hands. Barnsley came in and offered, I think it was £325,000. I protested to the board. I said I felt we could get more. They agreed. They went out, and we ended up with £400,000, which definitely eased the pain of losing a player who has been at the club his entire career so far. He has now gone on into Barnsley. He has already made an appearance, scored 1 goal, and had a 6.9 average rating. So hopefully he's going to do what he wants to do, go off into the league above and try and make it as a League One player. Fingers crossed, we might meet him one day up in League One and hopefully show him that he made a mistake. But him leaving did mean one very significant thing. I've spent a little bit of money. I say a little bit of money. I've spent a lot of money. But welcome to Boreham Wood, Martel Taylor-Crossdale, a 22-year-old English striker. Anyone who has played Football Manager this year or even the last couple of years will recognise this name. He comes in as 3-star current ability, a full 5-star potential ability. He came in for £110,000. I know it is a lot of money. The media were already saying when I was about to bring him in that I was overspending for him. However, he was the top scorer last season in the National League, scoring 32 goals in 43 games. And I felt that as we were now going to 2 up top, that we needed to bolster the strike force a little bit. And as Colhurst has dropped off in terms of his star ratings, I'm starting to worry that he's not going to be able to make it as a league striker. But this guy, I honestly believe, could make it. He says he can improve slightly in the future. I think he can do a little bit more than that. He's only 22. I think he's still got a chance, not necessarily to reach the full 5-star potential, but a little bit more than his current 3-star. And coming up to League 2 and going straight into the team, as we've still got a couple of injuries, I think he can really make his mark on League 2. Only thing I will say, he came in wanting a range of promises. I'm not sure where I can see those now. Here we go. So on here, he's delighted to already be playing plenty of football in his preferred position and role. He asked to be played up front as a poacher. We've also promised that we would make upgrades up front. I'm not sure how we're going to do that unless we bring in another attacking midfielder. Maybe that one may fall by the wayside. We also had to make a promise to him that we would reach the top half of the table by the 23-24 season. If we carry on the way we're going, we're going to reach that this season, and I think that promise will be fulfilled quite early on. And with that in mind, let's go into the schedule. So since the last episode, we have played 4 games. Not only are we unbeaten, since the last episode, we've not even conceded a goal in the league. However, we lost to League One Peterborough in the nonsense trophy. which we don't care about anyway. But I think that says to me that League One is a little bit of a step too far at the moment. So even if we did start looking around the promotion hunt later on the season, I think going up this season would probably be a season too early. But if I was handed it, I'm not necessarily going to turn it down. So with all those results in mind, we are second currently in the table, 6 points behind Crewe, who are the only other team that haven't lost yet this season, and we are 1 point ahead of Plymouth, Mansfield, and Swindon. Obviously, there's still a long way to go. Most teams are still in single figures, and so I'm not taking any stock from this league at the moment. But it is nice this early in the season to feel like that we're not necessarily going to be in a relegation battle. One other thing I thought I'd mention as well: we have seen increases in our attendances this year. I did mention that we had around 1,200 fans buy season tickets this season, which obviously was going to be an up on an average from last year. We're getting over 2,000 a game, so we got 2,100 against Wrexham, 2,200 against Southampton, 2,200 against Southend. We did obviously have our record lowest attendance ever, a 331 against Posh in the Papa John's Trophy, and the 2,100. So around 2,100 fans we're getting per game, which is really, really nice to see an increase in the stadium. And hopefully, as the season goes on, if we carry on this form, we might see the attendances increase yet again, because we do need money. Looking at this, we still have a positive balance for this season. So we've made £231,000. However, we are £143,000, almost £144,000 in the red this season. But hopefully, as the season goes on, we're going to start to see that E-Cup back into the black again. But if we look at our projection, based on our projection, they expect some major expenditures coming down the line. I think the fact that we had £400,000 come in for Sorba Thomas and we've only spent a quarter of that, that I think goes a long way to pushing our balance back up again. But we're not going to linger on that any longer. Let's get into the first match of today's episode. This is the team that is going to face Forest Green today. We have Huddard in goal, a back four of Devine, Bennett, Tricker and Charles, Adebayi, McDonnell and Iqbal in central midfield, Lewis in attacking midfield, and then we have, for the first time on an episode, Martel Taylor-Crossdale up front alongside the returning Fagan, who is now back from injury. Both him and Colehurst are now back as well, neither of which are fully fit, so Colehurst is likely to be coming on for Fagan at some point. I don't know how many minutes it says, 45 minutes of action for each. So unless Fagan is on an absolute roll in this game, I think he'll be coming off at half-time for Colehurst. Right, I'm going to point the finger and say, we've been on a good run lately. Go out there and impress me. I have... As I did last year with some of the FA Cup matches, I have no expectations going into some of these games. As long as the players are going out there and giving it their best, that's all I can ask. And McDonald's has a free kick on 5 minutes, whipped into the centre to Tricker, who nods it in for his third goal of the season. And I'm almost certain it's his third goal from a free kick. We really have got our attacking free kicks down pat now. McDonnell whipped to the back post. Tricker with the header. I think he scored 2 goals with his head now, 1 with his feet. But all 3 have been vitally important in terms of the start of our season. And that was a brilliant header by Tricker to put us 1-0 up and start this game in the right way. We have another free kick now with McDonnell on 12 minutes this time. And a back post. Can Bennett get a second? Bennett could not get it in. Back to Taylor-Crossdale on the volley to Tricker, looking for his second. That would have been incredible if Tricker had been on a hat-trick after 14 minutes from centre-back. That would have been absolutely amazing. But sadly, it was not to be. And just before half-time, we have another highlight. Devine to Adebayi. Into Lewis. Back to Adebayi. And back to Lewis. Out wide this time to Devine. A little bit of space. Can he whip the cross in? No, he comes back into Adebayi again. Can he go past his man? Devine looking for a little bit of space. Back to McDonnell. Goes back in the centre to Iqbal. To Devine. Please, come on. Somebody find a cross into the centre. Stop messing about with it. Somebody take a shot. For Iqbal with a shot there. Thomas, goalkeeper, puts it over the top. I thought we were never going to score there. Back and forth, back and forth. I thought eventually we're going to end up losing this. McDonnell with the corner. Whipped into the centre. Looking for Crossdale. Can't find him, unfortunately. And the ball is cleared. Devine tries to get the ball. He has 2 half attempts trying to get the ball and loses him. Forest Green are now on the attack. Are they going to get claw back a goal before half-time? Whipped into the centre. We managed to clear it. But only as far as Moore Taylor. Now to Hart. Back in the centre, Tricker manages to clear it to Charles, and that ends the highlight. One thing I did notice during that sequence as well, Forest Green have had a number of players already booked. There we go, Moore Taylor and Cadden both already booked in the first half. Maybe that's one thing we need to focus on, is trying to maybe put a bit of pressure on those players to try and get them make another mistake and see if we can try and get somebody sent off in that second half. But coming into half-time, I'm happy with that. 1-0 up. I think that's probably the best thing to say. My assistant manager says things are going well, but we know we're capable of better. Charles has a throw-in on 48 minutes to Fagan, who is massively out wide. Not sure why. Iqbal to the centre to Devine, who's in the penalty area, takes a shot, chips it over the goalkeeper. Has the mind of a striker there, Devine, as he comes into the penalty area. Has an open space, really. No one is marking him. Charles on the far side to Fagan. I did wonder why Fagan was out there. I thought we were missing a striker in the centre, but Iqbal picks out Devine. Nobody closes him down, lets him run into the penalty area, and he chips it into the top corner for our second of the game and his first goal of the season. Right, we're on 63 minutes, and we have another highlight here. Forest Green are coming forward with the ball, but Bennett managed to win the ball back to Devine, who I presume is now going to be on quite a positive rating after his goal. Into McDonnell, to Lewis. Like, we're building something nicely here again. To Fagan, to Crossdale, back to Lewis, out wide to Devine. Devine takes a shot from range. What a goal from Devine for his second of the game. This man has found his shooting boots in this match. He really has. He got a taste of it with the first goal and felt he would have a more audacious shot from range. Lewis with the ball out wide. I thought, what's Devine going to do here? Is he going to take it past his man? No, he takes the shot from outside of the penalty area for number 3. And I think with that, let's take Fagan off as he is still recovering. We'll bring on Colehurst for him for the last few minutes. And we'll drop Colehurst back into a pressing forward position. See if we can try and put a little bit more pressure on the back four. See if we can get yet another goal. Other than the strikers, positive ratings across the board. Shay Charles is one of the only other players that doesn't have a +7 green rating. One worrying thing is that all the substitutes are looking complacent. That is slightly concerning, but I think we may have to have a couple of talks with them. Point the finger. I want to see a good performance from him today. Hopefully that stops the complacency slipping in. 82 minutes. Let's make our final couple of substitutions. Iqbal is now struggling. Let's bring on Mundell for him. Lewis is also on a booking, so let's bring on Robson for him for the last few minutes of this match. Right, Forest Green have a throw-in on 88 minutes. Wilson gets the ball back, the original throw-in taker, back to Moore Taylor, but McDonald does really well to win the ball back. Colehurst has the ball, tries to chip it forward, looking for Crossdale. He does. Robson is clean through, past the defenders. Can he make it 4? The defenders get back. Robson, unfortunately, just hesitates when he came into the penalty area and gave them the opportunity to get the ball back. But I think that is probably it now. Coming into injury time, and there we are, full time. Another clean sheet and another win. We are really starting to build a nice bit of momentum now at the start of this season. I really am pleased with the way that we are playing. My only concern would be the amount of complacency that seems to be around. I know it's only on the substitutes, but I'm hoping that hoping to keep the players' feet firmly on the ground. I'm actually going to point the finger. You played well, but don't get complacent. That, I think, is the best team talk to give right now, because we did play really well and we haven't conceded. It'd be interesting to know how long since we've conceded in a league game in terms of match minutes. But one thing I don't want to do is as a player to get complacent, and that puts us 4 points ahead of Cambridge in 8th. Hopefully we can keep that kind of distance between us and 8th. The longer we can do that, the more time we can stay around this area and guarantee ourselves at least a top half table finish, which really I think we should be aiming for this season, even if we did agree with the board to do mid-table. So definitely a dominant victory. Devine did really, really, really well. Superb in front of goal, which is a bizarre thing to say for a fullback. We are now unbeaten in 7 as well. But now we have a different test as we have a home game against Bolton Wanderers. We really are not very good at keeping our strikers healthy, are we? 4 to 6 weeks. He's not even been here 4 to 6 weeks. Here we have the second match for today's episode as we welcome Bolton Wanderers to Meadow Park. And with the injury to Taylor Crossdale, there was only one change for today's match. Colehurst comes in for Crossdale with Banj coming up on to the bench. Hopefully the fact that we are playing two semi-fit strikers up front who in theory can only play 45 minutes apiece, hopefully that doesn't come back to bite me in the backside, because that would be rather embarrassing. I'm going to pump the fists. Media have given me a lot of credit lately. Go out there and give them a worthy display. I mean, we've done that in multiple games so far this season. The last 4 games so far in the league this season, we have done that. But I think, especially in front of a home crowd, if we want to build the home attendances throughout this season, we need to be putting in the good performances at home as well, which we have been up to this point. We need to keep those going because the more the fans are going to be happy, the more the fans are going to come in and pay their money at the door to hopefully try and drag us out of our overdraft. But at half time, absolutely nothing in that first half. Well, we've had 1 shot on target. Bolton have barely done that. We have had 5 other shots, but not done much else. I mean, we'll definitely call that a quiet first half. I'm going to say, point the finger. I'm not happy with the performance out there. If a team like Bolton are that poor that we're able to limit them to not a single shot on target in 45 minutes of football, at the very least we can score at least 1 goal in 45 minutes of football against them. And I demand more from the players as well. And we finally have a highlight on 64 minutes. Devine with the ball to Adebayi, who manages to keep the ball even with pressure from the Bolton defender. Devine goes past his man in a little bit of space, chips in the centre for Colehurst. Colehurst's header is blocked, but Charles manages to get the ball on the far side to Iqbal. Back in centre to Lewis. Fortunately, his header is deflected away as well. Now to Charles. To McDonald, back to Charles. Nice 1-2 there to Iqbal. Some nice 1-2s going on between the players. Some nice football. Out wide to Iqbal from Lewis. Iqbal into the centre. Colehurst. What a header from Colehurst. At the tightest of angles. Deflected off the goalkeeper. I'm not sure it was the goalkeeper or the post. But it doesn't matter because Fagan puts it in for his first goal of the season. I forget the fact that he has not even played really so far this season, bar the game against Forest Green because of his injury. But Colehurst there with the deflection to Fagan. Fagan puts it in to put us 1-0 up, and hopefully now sets us on the road to another home win. And on 80 minutes, I think we got a few tired legs out there, so let's make a couple of substitutions. Iqbal can come off for Mundell, our usual substitution there. Adebayi, though, is also struggling. I think who's going to be best to bring on for him? Right, we'll have a first appearance on episode 4. I'm sure it's a first appearance for Hazeman, who was a player that actually came in this summer during the transfer window. I can't remember if he was ever mentioned on an episode, but he is now coming on in that Carolera role. And I think, do you know what? I'm going to make the final change as well. Let's make all 3. So we'll push Banj forward to being a poacher, as he's not necessarily quite as technically skilled as the other 2. Make all 3 substitutions and hopefully see out the match. Well, there we have it. Not a single highlight further. I think we only had about 2 highlights in that entire match, but we had a 1-0 win. A complete shutout for Bolton. Didn't even get a single shot on target. More positive ratings across the board as well, and a fantastic XG to go along with it. So that is all positive. Outstretched arms. This time it is a good win for us. Not going to have to play the complacency card this time. But everyone is positive. One thing I am going to look at actually is the dynamics to see how we're getting on there at the moment. But that keeps us in second place. We are now 5 points ahead of 8th place. Now Accrington, Crawley have now pulled themselves into the playoff picture. But let's look at the dynamics. So club atmosphere is excellent. Managerial support is excellent, which is fantastic. Team cohesion is very good as well. I am putting into our training schedule every so often. If I go into calendar, I am putting in team bonding exercises and things like that every so often, just to make sure that the guys are developing quite well. And for those that are interested, I've also set up my mentoring groups. This I take a little bit of pride in making sure that I do curate quite nicely. So we have either a highly influential player or a team leader in each group, developing all the youngsters. And the one thing I did notice, if you look at the ages through here, The oldest player is 27, which is Colhurst. Bar that, we've got 25, 25, and that's about it. 22 is the next drop down. We do have a very young side, which obviously is very exciting for the future. And if we're playing this well with such a young side, they're only gonna get better as they develop together, which is a really exciting prospect. And as we look to the future, let's look to when we're going to come back for the next episode. Now, Crew are top of the table, but I don't necessarily want to have an episode that close. Who are the teams around us? Mansfield. So, I think that's probably going to be the next episode then. We're going to jump forward. As tempted as I am to do Crew and Crawley, let's jump forward and let's do Mansfield and Swindon at the end of October. I want to keep this train rolling. Well, that episode contained probably one of the quietest wins I think we're going to have all season. But we had our first double win episode for League 2. And if you enjoyed that, please give the video a like. Subscribe to the channel and don't forget to hit the bell icon to be notified of brand new FM21 videos from me as they come out. And thank you very much for watching.